Hello, everybody. Nice to have you with us. How's it going? So, today I've decided to do things a little bit differently. I don't know, maybe I bumped my head, maybe I didn't sleep right, maybe this is a bad idea. Who knows? Let's try it out. Today I want to look at the market first and then look at the news. That way we can say, oh, this is what news affected the market this way. That makes sense. So that's why this is happening. So let's look at what's happening first and then look at why that might be happening. So this is Hashed Out, the Crypto News with Cryptopolitan. I'm Philip Kripe, your host, and today is the 18th of December, 2023. It's great to have you guys with us. I really enjoy doing these. So let's take a look real quick here. Let's see. The global crypto market cap is $1.55 trillion, a 1.80% decrease over the last day. The total crypto market volume over the last 24 hours is $60.97 billion, which makes a 31.35% increase. It means there's a lot more trading than there was the day before. The total volume in DeFi is currently $7.51 billion. That's 12.32% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. The volume of all stablecoins is now $54.75 billion, which is 89.80% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. Bitcoin's dominance is currently 52.09%, an increase of 0.35% over the day. So if that's the case, we would imagine that Bitcoin went up in price in the last 24 hours, but that might not be the case. Maybe everything else went down more than Bitcoin went down. That doesn't necessarily mean that Bitcoin's doing better than everything else as far as price growth and things like that. So all of these are interesting things to know, but you need a bigger picture than just this high level view. So let's see, the fear and greed index, according to CoinMarketCap, is 70. That's the lowest it's been in a while. Last I saw it was 73. The time before that was in the 80s. It was 80 exactly. And the time before that was 83, I believe. So we've been losing greed and heading more towards somewhere between fear and greed. So let's look at the top two. Bitcoin is at $41,311.55, down 1.38% in the last 24 hours, down 1.54% in the last 7 days. Hasn't been a good week or a good day for Bitcoin. Ethereum is at $2,153.81, down 2.68% in the last 24 hours, down 3.37% in the last 7 days. So I could say the same about Ethereum, but let's look at the biggest losers in the last 24 hours and then the biggest winners. ICP is down 12.85% in the last 24 hours to $9.67, but it's up 84.64% in the last 7 days, which means it had tremendous growth in price over the last or value over the last 7 days. But in the last 24 hours, it had what some would call a slight correction. Maybe it just dropped a little bit. Maybe something happened in the news for it to grow that fast and go down that fast. Hi, Nine Ice Guy, Nine Ice King. Sorry. Hi. He says, "Hi guys, nice to have you with us, man." Check to see if we have anybody on YouTube or anything like that. Jumping in here, no, we don't. In the comments. All right. So let's take a look. Sats, 1,000 Sats is down 13.76% in the last 24 hours, up 4.09% in the last 7 days. I don't remember this project. That's interesting. Celestia, TIA, is down 11.65% in the last 24 hours, up 23.11% in the last 7 days to $12.07. Interesting. So that's also quite a bit of growth, and then a little bit of down in the last 24 hours. Filecoin is up 8.24% in the last 7 days, down 9.70% in the last 24 hours to $5.07. The next one's also interesting, just to note, is Luna from Terra is down 9.28% in the last 24 hours and down 11.96% in the last 7 days to 87 cents 52. Let's look at the biggest winners in the top 100, correct? So a star ASTR is up 30.28% in the last 24 hours, up 36.42% in the last 7 days. That's quite impressive. That's at 10 cents 35. STX from Stacks is up 12.15% in the last 24 hours, up 26.74% in the last 7 days to $1.15. Then we have INJ from Injective, up 6.6% in the last 24 hours, up 35.07% in the last 7 days to $31.95. And I see Helium here was up 64.36% in the last 7 days. Woo from Woo Network was up 58.10% in the last 7 days. So quite a few of these were up quite a bit this last week, Monday to Monday. And then we have a few more over 20% up in the last 7 days. In the last 24 hours, we don't have anything above 30%, and then under that it's 12, then 6. So it's not necessarily impressive today, but generally speaking, it was a pretty good week for a few of these. Let's go back to the top 20. BNB is down 1.96% in the last 24 hours, down 2.95% in the last 7 days to $236.77. XRP is at 59 cents 48, down 3.68% in the last 24 hours, down 4.35% in the last 7 days. It's actually under 60 cents. It's interesting. It's the lowest it's been in a little while. And you can see the curve here for these top ones. Very similar curve. Some minor differences, but you generally see like there was this uptick in the last 7 days. It's quite high. And then, I mean, you can look where they started. They didn't all start at the same position, but they all went up and then dropped and then up a little bit, then down, then up a little bit, and then down again. Generally speaking, there's a small difference for Tether because Tether's a stable coin, so it's pegged to the dollar. So it shouldn't vary a lot. And when you look at the variance here, it's a question of percentages of a cent, not thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars like it could be for others. All right, so that's BNB XRP. Sold from Solana is at $70.30, down 2.59% in the last 24 hours, still up 3.18% in the last 7 days. I say still up because the price has varied positively still. If you look at it week per week, if you look at it 24 hours ago, it was higher than where it is now. It's just something interesting to know as a trader to make the difference and the distinction. ADA from Cardano is at 56 cents 77, down 4.86% in the last 24 hours, up 3.15% though in the last week. Then we have AVAX from Avalanche, which is now in 9th place in market cap, which is crazy. I think a month ago it was 30th or something like that. So extensive growth from Avalanche. Yeah. I don't want to say anything about that. In general, when something goes up really fast, it could mean that it's going to come back down. It could mean that it's very volatile, or it could mean that it actually gains some sustainable growth. And you can't know that until you see some kind of correction and how far down it goes afterwards. We see it going down a little bit, went down 5.86% in the last 24 hours, but it's up 10% from last week. So is it really a correction? Hard to tell. You can only know with hindsight. You can't say this in the past and say, oh yeah, it's going to go up like this and go down like this, which is why it's interesting. $39.16 for AVAX. Dogecoin is at 8 cents 912. Dropped a lot in value since the last time I saw it. It's up 5.58% down in the last 24 hours, 8.35% down in the last 7 days. Then we had TRX from Tron, 9 cents 941, down 3.39% in the last 24 hours, down 5.14% in the last 7 days. By the way, I probably shouldn't say this because I do get involved with the news quite a bit, but I haven't looked at crypto news over the weekend at all. Partly because I've been really busy applying for grants and other things for one of my own projects. Because all the timelines and last minute things for Most of the big ecosystems are happening right now. So it's been fascinating to look into that and deep dive into that. But that means I haven't had time to deep dive into current events outside of those to see what's going on. So I'm going to discover this at the same time as you are, and I'm going to try to analyze it as you may do it yourself. So down from Polkadot, $6.59, down 5.08% last 24 hours, down 1.27% last 7 days. So that makes sense. It's down over the week, it's down over the day. Not much complicated to understand. Link from Chainlink, up 0.21% in the last 24 hours, down 4.34% in the last 7 days to $14.17. Okay, Matic from Polygon, down 6.28% last 24 hours, down 8.76% last 7 days, 77 cents 87. So, hi, anonymous user 42A0D. Nice to have you with us. So, yeah, Matic being at 77 cents 87. So this is something I've been doing. I don't know if anybody else does this, but I look at Matic, the price of Matic, and I look at the price of XRP. And if I see that the price of XRP is below the price of Matic that day, the way I look at it is that XRP isn't doing that well in price growth, and Matic isn't doing too badly, especially on days where I see Matic both of them going down. That's one of the small things I do, just because they're similar in price, not similar in market cap, not even similar projects. There's probably no good reason to do that. It's just because the pricing is so similar. Ton from Toncoin is down 4.79% in the last 24 hours, down 5.41% in the last 7 days to $2.10. SHIB is down 4.74% in the last 24 hours, up 3.97% week over week. Interesting. One thing you could look at is maybe if it's going down in the last 24 hours, it'll keep going down and lose what it gained in the last 7 days. Maybe I want to wait before investing, maybe not, if that's what you're thinking about. I don't do investment advice. I'm just saying that could be an indicator, but you can't know ahead of time, so that's not investment advice. Also, look at this graph. This is peculiar. You know, it's kind of steady with minor changes, and then boom, a peak, and then a cascade down. I never trust those. I have no idea. So there's probably something that happened this week with SHIB in the last 7 days, probably in the last part of the week, probably Thursday, Friday. Some news came out. Maybe they burnt tokens. Maybe something else happened. But SHIB skyrocketed and then crashed. That is also a stable coin. Litecoin, LTC, $69.24. Down 4.36% in the last 24 hours, down 4.92% in the last 7 days. Bitcoin Cash, BCH, is at $223.47, down 2.02% in the last 24 hours, down 4.27% in the last 7 days. And ICP is at $9.74, down 13.22% in the last 24 hours, up 87.29% in the last 7 days. Interesting. All right, let's go look at the news on Cryptopolitan and see if there's any logical reason for any of this. Okay. So let's see. U.S. investors rethink rate outlook. Here's why. Let's take a look at this. U.S. investors are revising their expectations, predicting lower interest rates as global bond markets rally and treasury yields fall. The Federal Reserve's indications of potential rate cuts in 2024 have shifted the economic outlook from higher for longer to a more dovish stance. This change in rate expectations is easing financial conditions, offering relief to corporate borrowers, and impacting floating rate loan issuers. So we can expect that rate to go down eventually this coming year. That's interesting. I wasn't really expecting that to happen. Is BRICS currency in the pipeline for 2024? We don't really know, but there have been discussions. They said yes, then they said no. I mean, we thought for a while it might actually happen in 2023. Asia's crypto insights, weekly recap of the top news. Let's take a look at this. This will give us a lot of information. Hong Kong's pioneering steps in digital finance. Let's see. In a groundbreaking move, the Hong Kong government has enlisted the expertise of 5 major banks, including HSBC Holdings Limited and UBS Group, to explore the issuance of digital green bonds. This initiative aims to leverage distributed ledger technology for creating fixed rate digital native green bonds, potentially denominated in various currencies, including US dollars and Hong Kong dollars. These bonds, with maturities of up to 2 years, mark Hong Kong's commitment to sustainable finance and technological innovation. Interesting. Adding to Hong Kong's crypto headlines, a recent ruling by the Hong Kong High Court has placed restrictions on Huobi Global Limited, prohibiting the use of specific Chinese characters in its branding. This ruling, favoring a restraining order sought by Xspot, owned by Li Lin, emphasizes the growing importance of brand identity and intellectual property in the crypto industry. That's interesting. South Korea's regulatory and market developments. South Korea has been busy shaping its regulatory framework. The Financial Services Commission has issued a legislative notice for the Virtual Asset User Protection Act. This includes measures to expand the scope of entities not covered by the Act, such as deposit tokens linked to CBDCs and NFTs, and imposes stringent storage and security protocols for virtual assets. The Act, expected to come into effect in July 2024, is a significant step toward enhancing user protection and market stability. Interesting. A South Korean investor group has accused Bithumb, a prominent cryptocurrency exchange, of engaging in unfair sales practices. This complaint with the Fair Trade Commission highlights the competitive landscape of South Korea's crypto market, where transaction fees play a crucial role in market dynamics. Interesting. Let's see. While the Asian crypto scene has been buzzing with its own developments, global events continue to influence the region. Russia's Ministry of Finance has proposed an initiative to export cryptocurrencies produced through mining activities, akin to its natural gas exports. That's not new. This move reflects a growing trend of nations recognizing cryptocurrency mining as a legitimate industry and considering its use in international settlements. Actually, they're trying to prop up the ruble by forcing miners to sell for rubles that they can then, use that to grow against the dollar and other currencies. It's a currency scheme more than something to do with cryptocurrency. They're doing anything they can right now. Throwing gold at the problem isn't working enough, so they're throwing Bitcoin at it now. In China, Yao Qian, director of the China Securities Regulatory Commission's Technology Supervision Bureau, discussed the potential of blockchain technology in enhancing data governance mechanisms. His insights, published in China Finance magazine, highlight the growing interest in blockchain applications beyond mere cryptocurrency transactions, which is what the only interest they have is outside of cryptocurrency transactions, because in China, you're not allowed to use crypto, but they have their own central bank digital currency, which they're trying to push more and more. So they can have more control over people and their money. It's centralization at its best. Corporate and market movements in the region. The crypto landscape in Asia also witnessed corporate and market shifts. Hong Kong-listed company Nuhuo Corporation Limited issued a profit warning, projecting a net loss due partly to the inability to withdraw cryptocurrency assets from FTX. This situation underscores the ripple effects of global crypto market fluctuations on regional businesses. Moreover, Huobi HTX announced an upcoming airdrop campaign, signaling the platform's engagement with its user base and the broader trend of leveraging token airdrops as a marketing strategy. Casio's foray into virtual G-Shock NFTs on Ethereum further exemplifies the growing intersection of traditional industries with blockchain technology. Interesting. So that's what happened in Asia in the last week. I wonder how any of those would affect. So the U.S. investors looking at rate cuts would push them to potentially invest more in stocks and less in crypto potentially. It's kind of how I look at it because if um, inflation is taken care of, then the dollar doesn't lose value as fast. And if you know what you're doing, maybe you can make more money in the short term in stocks and bonds and that sort of thing, or medium term, more related with bonds, than you can in crypto because there may be another crash. As previous bull runs started with an uptick, a crash, and then kind of a huge uptick for quite a long time. So they might be looking at that as well. Crypto faces uncertain future in U.S. Senate as support for de facto ban grows. Senate support for crypto ban grows. Industry faces challenge. Senator Warren's influence sparks worries over crypto regulation. Market uncertainty persists as crypto community defends interests. Johnny Deaton, the founder of CryptoLaw.us, asserts that approximately 20% of the Senate has already expressed their support for such a ban. This move is seen as a significant threat to the crypto industry, with Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts taking a leading role in shaping the narrative. I'm not surprised. In Europe, we would call her a communist. In the US, she would be considered a social democrat, which is in essence the same thing. She wants centralized control from the government over the economy in all things. If you have money, you're a bad person. So if you have money, but the government controls it, maybe you're not so evil, kind of thing. So she would definitely support a CBDC, but she would not support private created cryptocurrencies. It just doesn't make sense with her overall political ideology and philosophy. So, according to Johnny Deaton, Elizabeth Warren is the single biggest threat to freedom in the United States. I think there are other issues that could be bigger threats, potentially, could be, but could be one of them as well. ShakePay reveals the details of its platform breach. That could be a reason why people sold off some of their crypto as well. That might be why a lot of them are in a downtrend this last week. If they see that their government is going to ban crypto, they may sell off their crypto before it gets banned so that they can actually legally get that money back before it's too late. Canadian crypto app ShakePay has revealed the details regarding a recent breach that the platform suffered, mitigating risks and building customers' trust. So it's a Canadian cryptocurrency app recently disclosed the data breach that occurred on December 13th, 2023. It's 5 days ago. The breach involved unauthorized access to the personal information of a specific group of customers, but did not impact bank accounts, crypto wallets, or customer credentials. The breach was detected after unusual activity was observed on an employee's work device, prompting ShakePay's security team to promptly respond by deauthenticating and removing the compromised device from their network. This action was part of the company's incident response protocol designed to minimize the impact of such breaches. ShakePay's investigation revealed that the breach was active between March and December 2023, during which personal details of a small customer segment were compromised. Potentially exposed information includes names, emails, addresses, birth dates, phone numbers, occupations, trusted contacts, account balances, and transaction history. The incident underscores the challenges faced by digital currency platforms in securing user data. Social media responses to ShakePay's announcement reflected concerns about data protection. One individual on X, formerly Twitter, expressed skepticism, stating that private data cannot be protected by anybody. He noted that no matter how good a company is, there will be a weak link present in the firm. Another user asked questions about operational security, noting that March to December was a bad look. Yeah, so they found out there was an issue between from March to December. So they didn't catch it for 6 months. No, 9 months. I mean, you can have a kid in 9 months, right? So that's quite a long time. That could be another reason why the crypto market's down. But like we see scams and hacks and things like that every day. So why would that bring down the market? Plus, this is in Canada. Canada has 30 million people. Probably not. Well, I mean, they have more money than other economies potentially per capita, but that doesn't mean a lot of people sold off their crypto and left just because one platform got breached and information that wouldn't actually allow them to hack their accounts and steal their money got taken. People are still using 23andMe and they were hacked and a lot of information was stolen. Millions of users' information from what I could see from anyhow. So and people still use that platform. So that might not be the reason why we're seeing a downtrend in the crypto market in the last few days. New York makes first ever conviction for smart contract hack. Shakib Ahmed pleads guilty to hacking two decentralized cryptocurrency exchanges, making New York's first ever conviction for a smart contract hack. Ahmed's attacks exploited vulnerabilities in smart contracts, leading to the theft of over $12.3 million, which he agreed to forfeit. This landmark legal case demonstrates the U.S. judicial system's capability to address and prosecute sophisticated digital currency crimes effectively. Interesting. Well played from the court. It's a good job. Being able to catch the person and then making sure they actually pay for it or two different things. FTX debtors to receive asset value based on petition submission date. FTX debtors have been notified that they will receive the value of their compensation based on the bankruptcy filing date. Proactive revisions for stakeholder balance. Okay. That's interesting. So that's an amended plan for reimbursing. It's going to be difficult to hold. You guys can write comments and I'll respond, especially if it has something to do with what we're talking about. Right now, I'm trying to see how any of this affected the crypto market. Blockstream CEO stresses economic solution for Bitcoin level 2 adoption, or layer 2, sorry. Blockstream CEO Adam Back advocates for economic incentives to drive the adoption of Bitcoin's layer 2 solutions in response to rising transaction costs. Despite expectations, there has been a surprising decline in the Lightning Network capacity, indicating slow adoption of layer 2 platforms. The crypto community faces challenges balancing efficient transaction costs with user demands amid ongoing debates over network congestion and fee structures. There's that debate, and then there's the security debate. And if you use Bitcoin because you control your Bitcoin and nobody else does, and you trust the algorithm and everything, then why would you use anything that's built on top of it by somebody who may not be as proficient as the people that built Bitcoin? So that's an interesting way of looking at it. This could work for other cryptocurrencies as well, but a lot of the people that I meet that are Bitcoin maximalists will not use something on top of it. They might push somebody else to, because then they can, I mean, once you're inside the system, maybe you'll understand that it's better to do things their way. But yeah, so I don't see that catching on as easily with Bitcoin as with others. Like layer 3s, layer 4s, or something like that on Bitcoin just sounds like a crazy concept. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. Like, I'm curious. You guys can also like contradict me in the comments. We've had miniature debates and discussions where we went back and forth. That's fine. Rising Bitcoin ordinals trend fuels crypto community debates. We've talked about this before. So Bitcoin ordinals have been using a lot of, you know, gas and everything else for Bitcoin. So just slowing down the whole thing, making it more expensive to use. and quite a few people were upset with that. Bitcoin mining concentration sees a significant increase. Yeah, we've seen Bitcoin miners like conglomerate and buy each other out and fuse because they're thinking they won't be able to compete when the halving happens if they don't. So that's one of the reasons why they're doing that. Plus, it just makes sense to have more miners to make more money, right? It's not that complicated of a concept. Bank of Japan's exit strategy for interest rates. It's also interesting news because Japan is 120 million plus people, same size as Russia, approximately in population, or at least it was last I checked. It's been a while now. It's been a few years. The Bank of Japan is expected to maintain its negative interest rate policy, with investors closely watching for hints of future policy shifts. Speculation surrounds the Bank of Japan's strategy for transitioning away from negative rates, focusing on gradual changes and forward guidance. Japan's unique economic challenges, including deflation, shape the Bank of Japan's cautious approach, differentiating it from other major central banks. That's interesting. Yeah, Japan's also the third largest economy, so any change in interest rate could have all kinds of effects, not just on crypto, but on everything else in their economy, which could then have effects on like global supply chains and all kinds of crazy stuff. So it's important to keep track of that. Bitcoin transaction fees jumped to $40 amid calls for layer two solutions. We talked about that already a little bit. Charles Hoskinson clashes with Bitcoin Beach over ordinal inscriptions. So there's some specific guys talking about it. Let's see what they have to say. Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano, is involved in a heated debate with El Salvador based Bitcoin Beach projects. The Bitcoin Beach project criticized Hoskinson, questioning the future relevance of Cardano. In response, Charles Hoskinson issued a sarcastic retort, highlighting the irony in Bitcoin maximalists' rejection of new ideas. So the conflict began when the Bitcoin Beach project publicly criticized Charles Hoskinson with the growing interest in ordinals inscriptions, a new feature on the Bitcoin blockchain. El Salvador, known for adopting Bitcoin as legal tender, was highlighted by Bitcoin Beach as being resistant to these innovations, categorizing them alongside Cardano's mere easy money guises of innovation. Bitcoin Beach's criticism extended beyond the technical aspects, questioning the future relevance of Cardano in the evolving crypto landscape. This provoked a response from the Cardano community, leading to a direct response from Hoskinson himself. In defense of Cardano, Charles Hoskinson issued a sarcastic retort. What do you say? He highlighted the irony in Bitcoin maximalists' rejection of new ideas and projects, suggesting that such attitudes contradict the principles of inclusivity and interoperability that the blockchain technology champions. Hoskinson's response underscores a growing divide within the crypto community between those advocating for strict adherence to original blockchain visions and those pushing for innovation and expansion. The debate around ordinal inscription has been a source of significant controversy, with some of the Bitcoin community, including core developer. That sounds like a gunshot, but there's construction going on nearby, so I'm going to be right back. I'm just going to check to make sure everybody's okay. Everybody okay? Okay, good. All right, back. The incident adds another layer to Hoskinson's reputation as a polarizing figure in Web3, often finding himself at odds with various cryptocurrency communities. Yeah. Hi, Lil Arvello 1479. Nice to have you with us. Gracias. Amigos, te mandan. Okay. My Spanish isn't as good as my French, obviously, because I speak French fluently, but I understand. Folks in the chat will respond to that eventually. Usually, that's how it happens. So, like, there is a big divide between people that are only interested in one cryptocurrency. Most of them right now being Bitcoin maximalists, but there are a few that are like only Ethereum or only this. And what's funny is some that are only like only this layer two, which that layer two is built on a layer one, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't exist. So there are all these different kind of debates going on, and they're a bit strange. So yeah, crazy stuff. All right, let's see. Robinhood is poaching top clients from its competitors. I saw that if you move your funds or your shares from other um, platforms to theirs, they'll give you a percentage or something. Like they're enticing people to move over with money. UBS CEO expresses doubts over U.S. inflation control. UBS CEO Sergio Ermotti expresses skepticism about central banks' ability to effectively control inflation amid ongoing economic uncertainty, despite Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell signaling a potential shift to lower rates. Ermotti remains unconvinced that inflation is fully under control. UBS navigates strategic challenges, including significant job cuts following the Credit Suisse takeover, emphasizing ethical decision making in a turbulent economic environment. Hmm. From a Swiss bank's point of view, a Swiss mega bank's point of view, basically. Um, yeah, they could see it that way. That makes sense. Why they're talking about it publicly, I'm not sure how that helps them. Ripple shifts focus to CBDC projects and boosts XRPL in 2023. That is what's happened so far this year. Putin denies Russia's aggression plans, calls Biden absurd. Let's take a look at this. This is going to be funny. Putin dismisses Biden's claims of Russian aggression towards NATO, stating Russia has no interest in conflict with NATO nations. The Russian president criticizes Western dominance in NATO's post Cold War expansion, foreseeing a change in the global order at the upcoming BRICS summit. Kremlin spokesperson Peskov expresses hope for more constructive future U.S. leadership, while Putin remains resolute in continuing the Ukraine conflict. So before Russia invaded Ukraine, they sent an ultimatum to NATO saying that they wanted all of Eastern Europe, all the way up to the German border, all the way up to the Italian border, to be kicked out of NATO. So all of those countries were NATO members by their own choice because you have to apply to become a NATO member. So you ask NATO, can I join? NATO votes, then you start the process. After a few years of all kinds of different things in the process, then you get a green light, you get to join. Usually that's how it happens. With Finland and Sweden, since they met pretty much all of the criteria off the bat, technically, corruption wise, everything else, they were allowed to enter NATO almost immediately, but there were some holdouts that made the vote longer, like Turkey and Hungary. But it's interesting that Putin's saying that there is no Russian aggression towards NATO when they keep talking about taking over Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, Ukraine, Belarus, but Belarus, the current government is okay with that and has signed agreements to become one country with certain special rules and things. So that's an interesting case. And then you have the when speaking of Belarus, when the president of Belarus was talking about the invasion of Ukraine, he had a map behind him, and the invasion went into Moldova. The arrows went into Moldova. And this is something that people have been talking about for a long time. And they tried to make a coup in Moldova after invading Ukraine. Interesting, right? So, yeah, Putin's lying straight up. Just like he lied saying that they were withdrawing troops from the border with Ukraine before invading Ukraine. They did the same thing in 2008 with Georgia. They said they were withdrawing the troops, then they invaded. So the Russian government, the current government, is extremely untrustworthy when it comes to anything they say. It's not the first time they've lied about something. Or they play on words, but this is a straight up lie. BRICS is a secret world order plan. Here are all the juicy details. What do we have somebody on the inside? I'm curious. BRICS nations are strategically planning to undermine US dollar dominance, aiming to establish a new global financial order. Yeah, we knew about this. They said this out loud. A potential BRICS currency could significantly impact key US economic sectors, including banking, trade, and tourism. This is true. The upcoming 16th BRICS Summit in 2024 is set to be a pivotal event in advancing this new financial paradigm and global economic rebalancing. Which is funny because, like, China, the number one BRICS member and founder, a lot of their businessmen prefer to use the US dollar than their own currency. So if they made a BRICS currency, like Brazil, Russia, India, China, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and South Africa, I mean, it's already no longer BRICS. It's already becoming something else. If all of those countries had one currency, I'm guessing people in China, India, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, etc., would still prefer dollars for the foreseeable future. It would take a while to prove that it's actually worth it. Just like the euro in France and other countries in Europe, it took a while for people to actually see it as a store of value, as something stable. And that was the whole goal of the euro, was to be more stable than the dollar and hoping to replace it. And even though the European economy has more people, more businesses, and everything else than the the US dollar still rules supreme. So BRICS trying to do the same thing with a bunch of countries with even less in common than the EU and fewer countries, albeit bigger economies and more oil producing economies rather than oil dependent economies. Why would it succeed differently or fail differently than the euro? Hard to tell. Really, really hard to tell. Curious to see what happens there. But none of this, not the Russian thing, the American elections, the BRICS thing, the Serbian election this last weekend, none of this should impact crypto prices, right? Not much has changed. Decentralized exchange Jupiter, to airdrop 4 billion tokens in 2024. That's good news. We'll see how that goes, if the price stays stable or not. OKX emerges as leading NFT marketplace with $50.33 million in daily trading volume. That's interesting. Let's go check the value of OKX just after this. So OKX's NFT platform takes the lead with a staggering $50.33 million daily trading volume, surpassing competitors Blur and OpenSea. I didn't expect this to happen. OKX's strategic move to enable trading of Bitcoin ordinals NFTs propels its growth, leaving rivals behind and contributing to the broader surge in Bitcoin NFT trading. Interesting. So you add an ecosystem to your project that nobody else is doing, or none of the big players are doing, and boom, you can get past all the major players. Even if it's not necessarily something you're specialized in. So I don't believe OKX is all about NFTs, for example. It's an interesting thing. Like we're looking at a market and an industry that's still very new and still fluctuating a lot. It's possible there could be a world where OpenSea doesn't even exist. We said that 2 years ago, it'd be crazy. And now it's like, maybe. Who knows? Solana Saga phones trigger cryptocurrency frenzy with soaring resale prices. Let's take a look. Saga phones initially slow in sales are now reselling for over $2,000 on platforms like eBay. That's interesting. The surge in demand is fueled by the phone's inclusion of 30 million Bunk tokens, a Solana-based meme coin. Ah, and Bonk went up insanely in value just recently. I think it was 200%, something like that. But in insane amounts. It got into the top 100 cryptocurrencies in market cap. Just nuts. Also on Bored Ape and Mutant Ape Yacht Club NFTs worth nearly $3 million were recovered within 24 hours following a significant breach on NFT Trader. The swift retrieval of the digital assets was orchestrated by Boring Security, a nonprofit Web3 security project supported by ApeCoin. A bounty of 120 Ether, roughly $267,000, was paid to facilitate the recovery of the stolen NFTs, a strategy led by Greg Solano, co-founder of Yuga Labs. Interesting. Very interesting. So like that, a lot of crazy things happening, and I'm surprised by how much NFT news we have, actually. Let's go back to CoinMarketCap and look at yeah, I'm on CoinDesk all of a sudden. We could look at that. Okay. Some weird internet issues. There we go, coinmarketcap.com. Let's see. Categories. Layer 2, zero knowledge proofs, real estate events. There should be, actually, nah. There should be NFTs in here. I think it's tokenized gold. Okay, let's go back to this. Maybe category. Collectibles and NFTs. There we go. I see ICP, I see Volts. It's interesting. I'm not seeing OKX. Maybe it's not in this. Yeah, doing okay. Wow. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ordi is their third. Let's see here. Let's see. Volume. Yeah, third in volume. $128,598,457 worth of Ordi. Comes in third above Solana and below Ethereum and Bitcoin on their exchange. That's interesting. Very interesting. Okay. That's one way to do it. Yeah, as we see Bunk growing is like trending in like social media and things like that. So that makes sense. more trending real quick here. It's got bond conjective. Let's see if there's anything OKX related. It doesn't look like they have a token that's doing well thanks to this. They're using other currencies, notably Ordi, which means they're getting all these transactions and they're using somebody else's currency. That's interesting. Hi, Nabir 11 and R Shoria. Nice to have you with us. So yeah, that's one thing. We should see Blur's token. Take a look at that. That would make sense. So the market cap went down 20. What in the world? The market cap went down 4.89%. Interesting. Which is not one of the biggest losers, but it's still should be up in here. So yeah, we're seeing some small fluctuations due to specific news, but due to general news like uncertainty about different interest rates, everything seems to be fluctuating very differently. And now Bitcoin is at $41,591.31, with almost no change in the last 24 hours and only 0.78% down in the last 7 days. Something's happening in Bitcoin news all of a sudden. I'm checking the news real quick. The whole thing that's going on could be good for Bitcoin in the sense that even if you outlaw Bitcoin in the US, people will still be able to trade it over the counter, things like that. So you can't really stop it. So I did find a conversation on Twitter in recent conversation. Somebody's talking about buying Satoshis, so small amounts of Bitcoin, in order to have them available for the rest of the year, even and they paid a fee of, in all, they paid a 52.75 USD fee because they did it through a service, through a specific wallet that has an extra fee on top. And so somebody said they think it's cool that they're buying some, but they would wait until the fees are lower. And somebody else said, yeah, it's a little high. And then they answered, yeah, it's just fear of missing out. The fees are going to stay high or go higher. So even high fees may cause people to buy. Usually you would think of you're buying something, you don't want the price to go up and then buy it. You want to wait for it to go back down to buy it. But there's this fear of missing out, FOMO, that exists, especially in crypto, that may cause people to buy even when price is going up. There are all these different trends that happen and counter trends. And at the end of the day, understanding trade depends a lot on understanding people. And there's so many different types of people. different cultures, different backgrounds, different professions, different mindsets, that it's extremely difficult to predict what the market's going to do next. For example, Bitcoin was down most of today, and now it's up 0.06% in the last 24 hours. It hasn't caught up with how far down it is over the week, but it has caught up with how down it was over the day. So even today, you could have traded more or less up, down 0.3% in value. It's crazy how that works. So just find that fascinating. Either way, thanks for joining us. Have a great week as we're coming into, what is this, third week of December? I guess if you count the Friday being on the first, it would be the fourth week, but the third full week of December. Then we have we're actually a week away from Christmas on the Gregorian calendar, and almost 2 weeks away from the end of the year. 2 weeks away from the 1st of January. Let's put it that way. So we're in the last parts of 2023. Just think about what you guys expect to see in the next 2 weeks. I expect to see a lot of people, spending less time looking at crypto and more time relaxing, doing things with their families, going on vacation, doing that sort of thing, rather than spending a lot of time trading crypto. Could be wrong. We'll see. And I expect things to take off a bit more next year with more trading volumes, especially after the 15th of January, just because of business trends and people having time off, making the way they make money, things like that. But we'll see. We'll see. Time will tell, like they say in Red Alert. Have a great day. Thank you very much for jumping in. Don't forget to like and subscribe, especially subscribe so you get notifications when we go live next. Next should be Wednesday. I'll set it up for that. And we may have a guest this Friday, we may not. And then usually we have a show on Saturday with more interesting things happening. Have a good one. Thank you for joining. Have a great time. Bye.